Welcome! I'm so excited. My name is Jessica and I am the visionary of Blue. And we have done, or we are in the process of doing, this amazing docu-series called Selah. As a part of Exhale for this year. And I have these amazing women joining me. So we all did our individual interviews, or I won't call them interviews or whatever they are, conversations. Mm-hmm. And now we are here on the couch and we're just talking. And we want to talk about this aspect of Exhale from a community standpoint. I could start in terms of how to lean on community as it relates to exhale and rest. I think it's really about the aspect of accountability. Mm-hmm. And we were talking earlier about, Asia, I think you were mentioning about like letting people in to that, so that you can be held accountable, and also that different people have different capacities. Mm-hmm. So knowing, and I think that comes with like a level of intimacy as well, letting people into that and onto that journey with you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say, I think in order to let anyone into knowing what you need for rest, you need to know it for yourself. So yeah, I think having a level of self-awareness, and then also recognizing that rest comes in many forms, that it's not just sleeping. It could be, for me, I love running outside when it's sunny. So that's my form of rest and like resetting. Yeah. So I think if you know what that is, then you know better what to communicate to the people in your community. Yeah. But I think the second piece to that is knowing how to communicate it. Which is another art in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
I would agree. I think just even being able to define what community means to you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean everything to everybody. And I think that can help inform how you ask for assistance when it comes to like rest or accountability or asking for what you need. Being able to define, okay, community means this to me, and how can I lean into that or cultivate this definition of community for myself.
Yeah, I find for me that like I'm mindful of how I even feel in community in certain spaces. Like, am I more tense or am I like more chill and laid back? Like, I think community in itself is a space of exhale and rest.
The first thing that comes to mind for me is, depending on who's in your community and how they surrender, I think that might also model what you choose to do or what you choose not to do.
That's good. That's good. That's true, because if we all just disobedient,
well,
if we're all just disobedient, because like, what is the saying say? Show me your company, and I'll tell you, and I'll tell you who you are. That's good.
And I think I talked about equally yoked relationships is very important for me to stay in God's rhythm earlier in my interview. So it's like, it's very important to have equally yoked relationships who can hold you accountable, or even just remind you that like God keeps his promises, and you can just rest, that you're able to just open up without judgment or anything like that.
I think I was gonna, when I saw that question, I was thinking it's so important to be a part of a healed community as well too, as you were saying, like, show me your company and everything. Because again, like, if my community is not healed, I feel like they can continue to trigger me, and like instead of me going forward, like I'm going backwards, because okay, my community is meeting up today and I already know what they're going to talk about. So like, even if this wasn't even a part of the question, but in my small community, like, I'm the planner. And so I would say, like, if we come here without a plan, we're going to talk about things we're not supposed to be talking about. So they will always say, guys, we're hanging out today, and you guys know Drika, what's the plan? Because what game are we going to play? What conversations we're going to have? Because then if I leave the space open, we're all vulnerable people, we're all going through things, and I find that we may have the same conversations over and over and over again. And there's some things that I'm working on. Like, I'm like, Lord, deliver me from gossiping and talking about people. So if we come with a plan in my healed community, like, our plan is to continue to heal each other and to move forward. So it's very important to be.
Yeah, I love that. I love although I would say healing community. Just because like we're on that journey, and it's almost like, even if those moments do come up, it's like being able to like hold each other accountable. So we were having a conversation earlier, and Asia was like, well, what did you gather? And I was like, That's why you're my friend. But I think that's important to have people around you that are going to challenge you.
Right.
I always say community does two things. They challenge you and they check you. If your community doesn't challenge you, check you, three things actually, and cover you, then I think that like it's not a balanced community. You need to be able to have people that will realize that you're not surrendering. Like, didn't the Lord say that you should have done that thing, and why aren't you doing that thing? Essentially, like, and I remember we were talking about it earlier about the things that I do. Like, I have people in my community that if I said I'm not doing Bloom,
like, what do you do?
Like,
are you okay? Like, are you good? Like, is everything okay? I feel like probably everybody on this couch would be like, is everything okay? You know, and so it's like, and I think that's helpful because then I can also go to them with my vulnerability, like, yo, I'm struggling. I don't want to do this, but they help to carry along that surrender, you know? So I think community is so important on this journey of surrender.
And if I could just add that I think when we are in the blows of the winds of life and challenge and suffering, and you know, I think sometimes the community can be helpful in the sense where your knowledge of the word or your remembrance of what God is saying about you is blurred because of all the noise and all the winds. Your community can remind you, like, this is who God says you are, this is what He instructed you to do, and you know, He will give you the grace to carry it through, type thing.
And that is why also to add, like, it's so important to pray for a community and not just because sometimes when you come into like moving to Edmonton, you move and you're lonely, like you just need some friends right now to get through, like you know, you're a newcomer and everything, but it is important to you may just click with somebody. It's also important to pray and say, God, is this the person that you want me to align to? So like not every community is a good community, and the word is sometimes thrown around so loosely, like she's a mom, you can just be mom friends, but again, like, what energy am I getting from that person? Is that someone who, as you said before, will cover you and pray in you and stuff like that? So it's so easy to go to the available person, but making sure that that person, God is actually sending that person in order to
and I think that goes within like the community that you're building. You have to be intentional.
I agree.
With like what you're doing with them and just like what you're saying to them, and you don't want to just be like friends with everyone per se. Like you can be kind and nice to people, and I truly believe my definition of community is like strangers as well, but like my own inner circle, I have to be completely intentional in knowing them, helping them pick up their cross, you know, not including them in certain things that some things that might be okay for me might not be okay for them, and respecting those boundaries.
That's good. I think the last thing I'll say on this aspect is just like around the context of everybody in your community can't be at the same stage and age as you. You need people that have journeyed the path.
some old people.
You need to you need some mature saints. I think it's important to have that because like just this week past I had a conversation with one of my mentors and I was like, wow, I was in the days because like just having conversation with her completely like shifted my perspective because she's like, Jess, like this is not your final destination, like there's more ahead. Like I know this is a rough patch and a rough season, but like there's more ahead. And it's like somebody who has been where you are and being able to tell you, hey, there's gonna be, it's gonna get better, or to challenge you and to check you and all of those things. I think it's important that everybody's not at the same stage and age, because it helps to pull you up. I think,
and being responsible for the next generation. Like we can't be so narrow-minded in our, like obviously we all have like a lot going on, but we can't be so narrow-minded in our context, what we have going on, that we don't see the opportunities to bring someone along with us. If we continue doing that, the kingdom is not going to continue to advance, right? We need to like see opportunities to pull along people who are teenagers or like younger adults, because I'm still young. But we need to seek out opportunities to bring people along, and I think not making it like bigger than it needs to be. I'm going to the grocery store. Do you want to come to the grocery store?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Like, it's not every
Come
day.
and do the everyday life.
Yes.
Correct.
Right.
It's not every like everyday
Doesn't
Bible
have to be a
study. It doesn't
program.
have to be like work. Like, it doesn't have. It can be, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be these big planned,
I
like
agree.
very intense, emotionally charged environments.
Yeah.
It could be the simple
I
things
agree.
that we
I
just
feel
do every
convicted
day.
by that. Just to be able, no, for real, because like I've been saying, like I haven't had space to welcome like mentorship because I've done it in the past, but it's like, yeah, but somebody can just come sit on your couch, or like I'm doing this thing, like just come along type of thing. So I felt convicted by that.
An example of like last Friday for Good Friday, my husband and I, there's a couple in our church who are getting married. They're in their early 20s. They're getting married this year, and we just had them. They said, oh, we can bring food and make brunch. Oh, great. You want to cook in my kitchen? I don't have to do anything. They came, they brought the groceries, they cooked in the kitchen. We had conversation, and I'm like, this is what it's about, right? It's like, as you were saying, like, it's not always about it being a whole big agenda, but a lot of people, I think, miss that, like, especially when it comes to the discipleship journey. It's like, there's 100%. so much treasure in those moments where you can have conversation, and it leads to one thing, questions being answered. We don't have all the answers. We say we don't know. We learn together. I feel like there's so much goodness, I feel like, in those moments that I think could be appreciated on both ends.
And making space for that, because we have to like pause and like not fulfill our schedules and our time to be able to do that, right? We have to like say no to hustle culture. We have to say no to.
You have to exhale.
Literally. It's so many things you have to say no to be intentional to even make space for things like that.
That's so good.
So we have to define exhale. Okay, so
now exhale is actually one of my questions.
That's what I looked at her.
Okay. Interview. And when I saw the question, I thought about like the inhale.
Okay.
Before I got to exhale, I thought about inhale. And I said, as I inhale, Andrika, what am I taking in? Yes, I'm taking in the stress of my marriage. Okay, my marriage is not in trouble. But the stress of being married. I'm taking in motherhood. I'm taking it all in. And then I pause and I exhale. I let it out. Even in the physical, you drop your shoulders. You lean back. You look at it now with a clearer vision.
That's so good.
And so when I pull in all of these things that are stressing and worrying to me, God says, release it. And that's exactly
good.
what I do in exhale.
That's
and
good.
I lean back.
That's good. So what's funny is Genesis 2, I think in 17, it says, and when God breathed into him, he became a living soul. You see, when you study that scripture and you look at exhale, you don't look at your breath in the same way. Because you look through scripture and you see how breath is used in different ways, like the ruach of God, the his spirit now that lives in us is literally his breath. Like when you translate that from the Greek to English, you're just like, wait, so as I inhale and exhale, I'm literally inhaling and exhaling, and the presence of God lives within me. I was like,
wow.
I was like, wow. Like, you're literally in him I live and move and breathe and have my being. And so when you realize exhale it's a sacred invitation to remember that in Genesis 2 was the first time, yes, God would have breathed breath into somebody, but that continues throughout generations, throughout humanity, and what in his sovereignty, how he so good. How he like continued to breathe into us. So whether it is now coming and leaving his spirit that lives in us and that walks with us, it's actually quite, wow, my voice is going. It's actually quite powerful to know that we can lean on the sovereign God, that we can trust in him, that we can literally take a breath, we can sit back and relax. And what's even more powerful is even the scientific piece behind it, of how breath actually heals, of how our vagus nerve is connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. So when you take a breath...
What is that, Jess?
Don't we're calming and regulating our nervous system.
Yes.
So when you actually take a breath, it actually calms you down and regulates you. But then when you add the layer of the Holy Spirit to it, it's like it's not just your natural breath, but it's also the presence of the Holy Spirit, His wisdom, His knowledge, His grace, all of that. That's also actually bringing you to a place of peace and surrender.
I love what you're saying. For me, what comes up is Deuteronomy 31, when Moses is essentially summoning Joshua into position and saying that, that God will go before you. And I just feel like that is a representation of Him going before us through His Spirit, and just we don't have to exhale knowing that we're not doing it on our own, right? In exhaling, like inviting His presence into that situation, into that difficult moment, like He's already in it, and He's already, you know what I mean? So I feel like that. I can't remember the question, but so with God being in it and somehow, I feel like I don't know what I'm saying.
No, because we were defining exhale.
Like within your community. We're kind of like
we started off with exhale
so
first.
We know what exhale feels
so
like.
we know what
exhale
we know what it's like.
So what does that feel like and sound like in community?
Oh wow. I think
sorry.
Safety.
Safety.
I think as we define that, and it sounds like a lot of what we're saying is like God being Lord over our lives, so like lordship to me. And I think like that means that in community we're asking God a lot of questions that we probably wouldn't if God wasn't Lord over our lives. What I mean by that is like what we were talking about before about, is this someone that I should be in relationship with? How should I go about building my business? Lord, help me to not fall into hustle culture. How do I steward a relationship with someone who is 18 years old? How do I do, like constantly inviting the Lord in to guide and navigate how you're building community, just like how you're living your life.
That's good. Yeah, that's so good. I think it really, really comes down to this aspect of lordship and sovereignty, and even your community has to exemplify that. And I think it's that aspect of values. Do we have shared values? You know, because it's like if you don't have shared values, so it's, for example, like some of my values are time, boundaries, right? Respect. If we don't have the same value of time, where I'm like, I want to spend time with you, but it's not your value, then we're going to be misaligned. Right? And so I think it also has to do with the aspect of values as well. Because sometimes I feel like, oh, this won't sound bad, but sometimes I feel like people, we not saved. Like we're just like just say it. Are we actually living holy, or are we not? You know, and I think it's giving spew you out of the mouth kind of thing. And for me, it's like if I'm not able to tell you that you're wrong, or you're able to tell me that I'm wrong, I think that also is not an aspect that gives back to the sovereignty and the lordship of God, because then now of the Lord, because now we're living in the space of disobedience, where it's just like, oh yeah, the Lord told me to do this thing, but I didn't do it, and I'm like, really? No, I'm gonna be like, oh, well, why not? Kind of thing, not from a place of judgment, but you know,
how can we align for you? How can I support you so you can get back on track?
Exactly.
And I think it's for me, like I used to do this. I used to ask for support and then get mad when I get it. Because I mean I didn't ask you to correct me like that. But then, and I think of myself, who are you in your community? I'm the one who's gonna say it.
That's good.
In my community, no one's gonna say it, but they know Andrika's gonna say it. So again, like learning as well to say it like from the mouth of God as well too. You don't have to say, you said you were going to the gym. Look at you now. You know, my sister, like, did you actually go?
I gotta look at you now.
I can go with you.
But we need those kind of people.
Sorry. That would be me.
So we're talking about how our community shows up, and you brought something up. How do we show up for our community? How do we sound and hear and feel and all those things. How do we do that for other people?
Yeah.
I think it's important, yes, how people feel and sound and all the things to us, but like, are you a safe space in your community? Are you an anxious presence? Like, what does that mean also for your community? How do people experience you? And not from a place of like, oh my gosh, how do people experience me? But like being very mindful of what you bring as well, the presence that you bring. I think that's so important, because then you're not a safe space, or you're not like, nobody want to come to you, nobody will come to your house because you're mean, you're rude, or all those things. Like, I've had friends who tried to tell the truth, but I'm like, that was rude, and I'm not the one ever to be rude to, because I will tell you that you're being rude, and you're not gonna get through to me in that way. Maybe you'll get through to Andrika, but to Jessica, Samantha, Robinson, Grant, you're not gonna get through to me. So I think it's important of like, what presence you bring to your community is important as well.
I think my community is like, should we tell Andrika kind of community?
Why?
Because they know I'm gonna mother everything.
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna always speak from a mom's standpoint. I'm always gonna speak to them as you're my child. Because well, not like in a negative, but like what I don't want from my kids, I don't want from my friends either.
That's fair.
I love my friends.
That's fair.
And so I think they're gonna be like, okay, let's go by Andrika house and let's tell her. Because they know, like, I don't think I'm rude. I don't think so. I don't think they've ever said to me like, you're rude, but it's just like, if you really want to know, like, if you're doing something wrong, let's ask Drika about it.
That's fair.
And like, I'm just like,
They're like the barometer.
I'm like the mom. I'm the mom in my group. Like, we all bring something to our group.
She's telling us.
I bring the mom. She's been telling me.
She's been. Okay, next question.
The first thing that comes to my mind is sharing the gift of presence. So sometimes people they're not looking for all the answers. They're not looking for solutions. They just need to be heard. We all in some way desire and deserve to be seen and heard.
That's good.
And so I think whoever is in your community and whoever you entrust in those moments, I think in who you are open to being vulnerable with and honest in that way, like letting yourself for another person just be present and asking them, how would you like me to be present? Do you want me to call you?
Good.
Do you need me in your space? Do you need space? I think just kind of gauging that, because everyone is so different, could be helpful.
Learning how to be sensitive as well, and just as you learn that person or your community, you see their style on how they cope on certain things. And also sometimes they don't even know what kind of support they need. So you really gotta put yourself in their shoes and like, how do you think, like what kind of support do you think they would need if they're not, they can't articulate what kind of support they need. And also not expecting that like they're gonna be okay the next day. Like it takes time.
I think also what's important, and I think we were talking about this earlier, is being able to communicate what you need as well. When you know what you need, being able to communicate that, because most of my friends know my signs of burnout. Like if I'm just like, I'm not with it type of thing. And kind of like how I get, and so I will communicate that to be like, this is what I'm, if you see me getting to this place, this is what's happening, essentially. So I try to communicate that to my friends, like, Jess, are you okay? And just like, I'm just not myself, but I think presence would be important for you to notice that I'm not myself. You would need to have a certain proximity to me, and time spent to know, hey, I'm Jessica's not herself, or different things like that. So I think that aspect of communicating your needs as well. A couple of Sundays ago when we were at church, Princeton said this thing. He was just like, sometimes God sends you help in the form of people. Right? Always, like a lot of the time, and like sometimes I feel like we miss it. So like a few weekends ago, actually just this past weekend, Good Friday, my father-in-law was here, and I felt like the Lord ministered to us through him, like in just the most simple way of like him buying the fish and buying us food, and I was just like, wow, I don't have to cook for like 3 days. Like it was great. And just like he came, he washed the garage, he did all of these things, and I was just like, Like I just was able to just exhale, and it was great. And I think, you know, through my mother-in-law, different people, my friends. I remember I was having a really crappy day, and we were supposed to go out, and I was like, Asia, I don't know. I was like, okay, do you want me to like? She asked, do you want me to come over? Yes. What do you want me to do? And she brought me breakfast, and we sat and we talked, and I exhaled, and I was able to have a clearer perspective after we finished talking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I seen my TikTok algorithm is like.
Your what?
My TikTok algorithm. It's curated. Okay? So I've been seeing a lot of conversations about being like village people. Like, so what does it mean for you to put deposits in as a village person? Yeah. Right? So like you showing up, you doing what agent, she came over and she brought you breakfast. Like you putting in, I guess it's like relational capital with people so that when you need to withdraw from it, you can. Because you put in like the effort. And I think in times of burnout and like stress, you're gonna need to withdraw, but also be mindful when I'm not in seasons of stress or when I'm not in seasons of burnout or overwhelmed, how can I pour into somebody else?
Yeah.
So being the practical friend, going back to that, and the mother, why you burned out? Could you write me a list of things that you are doing? What are the things that you were doing the past 2 weeks that made you get here?
You're such a mom.
I go through it. I go through it. Yes, I go through it. I said, oh, you're doing that? Okay, I think the treasurer can do that piece. I don't think that you need to do that.
That's fair.
Or I don't think so. I think so-and-so can do that. Okay, you should do that because I feel like, then when we're done, because then you're going to come, you're going to feel okay for 2 weeks, you were burnt out, I took on all of your problems, and then 2 weeks after, you didn't change anything actually, right? So what are the things that you can change now so that you don't get here again? And also learning, like, you don't have to do everything. Not because you are the men's president. Means that everything you don't have to do that.
My poor husband.
Yes, as you do something very, like, not close to us. Not because you are that means that you always have to. You have a department for a reason. Yeah. You have a husband for a reason. You have kids for the reason. Send them for the remote. To go for it every single time. Because one thing about me, I will not be overwhelmed. That's me. I fight for my peace. I'm not doing that. Sorry.
That's
but
fair.
also
I love that.
I do show up and do the things that I put my name to do. Because wherever my name is, like, that's something I pride myself in. Anytime I hear the name Andrika, it's whiplash. Why are you calling me? Because if I'm doing something, I'm doing it to the best of my ability. So that's I do understand that, but then you need to be able to see it from, a distance. Like, whoa, this is becoming a lot. I need to take a step back. And that's where your community as well. Because as you said, like, your community will know. If you say, I'm not doing Bloom, blink twice. Are you okay, Jessica? So having people around you like that, where you can see it from a distance, and so can your friends too.
Yeah, that's good.
I think sometimes people have a hard time asking.
Yeah.
For help. Yeah. Because, like, we could say, like, you need to ask, but, like, people have a difficult time asking. And I think what I've learned, like, just being a mom, is that more people are willing to say yes to you than no. And you'll be surprised that people will say yes. Like, if we were actually to took a big, like, zoom out and look at how many times did I ask for something and someone told me no, as opposed to when people told me yes, it would outweigh the no's, right? And I think for a lot of us, myself included, because we, like, play this tape in our mind of, like, people not showing up, we play the negative tape. So we continue to reaffirm that negative thought. But I think if we were to ask and keep asking and people kept saying yes, we can now have a new tape of rewriting, like, that new story of, people do say yes to me. And I can, like, sit in that, like, I can ask for help. And just like ease the feeling of not being deserving of help in some ways. So
that's good.
I can relate to that, and also what you were saying. I think with, like, I know in my own experience also as a mom, I realized in my long-term friendships, that I also played a role. I was often the one to always offer a listening ear, always the one to like hold space for heavy things. And it's not a coincidence that I'm also a therapist, but I feel like when I was in a season of need, emotional support, I realized I feel like I can't ask, even though I can, but I feel like I can't, and I can't fully be 100 with all these people who have known for 10, 15 years, who, you know, have been there through very pivotal moments of my life. And I'm like, that's an issue. So I had to have some difficult conversations, probably more difficult for me than them, but having to recognize that, like, this is a new season of life, and we're going to continue walking together in life, then we got to adjust some things, because, like, I also need, right? And so, you know, do you have the space? Do you have the ability to offer me the support that I'm communicating that I need? And thankfully, in my case, like, a lot of the people were like, yeah, like, I'm glad you said something. But it was really hard, and I had to realize there was pride in that for me. But just kind of like with the whole thing about asking for help and also playing roles, I think we got to understand when we need to shift and when we need to kind of like make it known that we need something. And if people are not for us in that season, like, surrendering that and knowing that God will replace those people with the people that you actually need and the community that you need.
That's good. That part about surrendering and letting go of, like, that pruning piece, right? Sometimes pruning comes in relationships, and not necessarily this cut-off culture that we do, but it's just like the relationship it's not progressing, or it's not going towards your bloom or their bloom. And being able to recognize that and knowing that sometimes things come to an end, and that's it's hard, but it's like, but knowing that that's okay, and maybe you paths will cross again, but knowing that that's okay, because seasons change and things shift. So for you ladies who've done, you know, the interview and the conversation, what's one takeaway that you're taking away from our conversation today?
That it was timely for where God has me and where He's had me in my life. I feel like with everything Bloom has been this year that I've been a part of, it's been like interconnected into exactly where I'm at. So I feel like what's taken away is just confirmation that, you know, of the benefits and the release that comes with exhaling and really trusting and surrendering, what that looks like. But also, I can appreciate being surrounded by women who have different stories, different realities, and that we're all in different spaces in terms of what the exhale looks like, but that we're not alone in this like pursuit of exhaling. That makes sense.
That's good. I love that.
For me, it's just simple. Being in a room with women that I wouldn't usually be in a room with. And being very like, my business is my business, because I do act like that. So being in another room of women that I wouldn't usually be so close sitting with, and learning from them, and also giving from myself as well too, because sometimes I'm like, you know, who do they think Andrika is? And sometimes I think about that. And again, like I said, it's also you, Andrika. You are very closed off to sharing and being outside of the people that you say you've chosen to be friends. So for me, it's just like another space where I can heal, exhale, and hear how people went through their situations and they exhaled as well too, or they're still journeying their path. Yeah,
that's good. How about you, Sam?
I think it really highlighted to me when Nikita said that we need to have certain, like, different age groups within friendships. I think that one, like, is very, very important. And especially,
are you calling us old?
I was just
no.
I was like, excuse me.
But we're all moms, so we relate on that certain level, right? So like with majority of my friends, like you know, like they're entering that, or they're not even married yet, right? So like I have to be like the mom and like example, so like looking into like having this space and even just community. That's why I'm just like here like observing, because like you all have like the wisdom from God, and it's just so refreshing, and like it's just so nice to just have that.
You're making me cry. I'm low-key like, no, I don't know if the lashes are on. How about yourself, Kita?
My takeaway, I think I think even just like preparing for today, and just like going over the questions and thinking about the questions, I'm just like, okay, how can I like make this not more practical in my life? How can I be more intentional of acknowledging the things that God is calling me to like put down, and how can I be more intentional about cultivating like a community, especially the season of life that my family is in, and just being, okay, God, like, you have us in this space. How can we be more intentional about being uncomfortable to invite community? Because it's really uncomfortable. Relating to people that you're not used to and having to advocate for yourself. So, okay, how can I, like, all the answers that I've given, all the things I've thought about, like, how can I now do that?
Yeah, that's good. I think for myself, I'm getting emotional. Carrying Bloom is a lot. It is a lot. And I think this space caused me to exhale as well and just remind me of my yes. Because I feel like there's been time I asked the Bloom managers, I was like, so can you tell me why I said yes to this again? Remind me why. And yeah, it just reminded me of my yes, and reminded me that Bloom is a journey. It's not a destination. And so this is a part of the journey. And just like I said before, that it's not just about the woman that will be in the room or the woman that will be drawn to the room, but the woman who will watch this. That the call from the Father to exhale is bigger than August 8th to the 10th. That it is a call to his daughters to surrender, to breathe, to exhale, and to know that he is with us and for us. So that's what it did for me today. And this is part one. There's another part. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just layers, you know. So yeah, that's my takeaway and my reflection for today. Yeah.